Hello guys and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about bards and how to multi-class with them and how to optimize for them. So, as the build relies on a lot of dips and you're going to be seeing a lot of mix and match over here, I've made this first table where it actually tells you what to do for each build and what you're going to be getting. So I'll quickly go through this. If you already know what the classes do, I'll have a marker down below. So you can just click and go to the builds part. As a bard on level 1, you get inspiration, which you can use on your allies. On level 2, you get jack of all trades, which lets you add half of your proficiency to every ability check that you do, even initiative. At level 3, we're going to be going for the swords bard. Especially, we really care about defensive flourish here. This is probably the best possible outcome we could have expected, because you can also use this for ranged attacks. On level 4, you get ability score increase. So for feats, I would recommend you guys go for Great Weapon Master or Sentinel if you're a melee class, Sharpshooter if you're a ranged class, and Alert if you want to go for utility and go faster and get the sword fighting style defensive flourish out early on so that you're going to have a higher armor class. Also, if you enjoy the content guys, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much. So at level 4 you get an ability score increase and you get Song of Rest, which allows you to do an additional short rest every day. On level 5 you get an upgrade to inspiration. Now they're 8-sided die instead of 6-sided die. And the inspiration points reset on every short rest. This is actually quite important, because you want to be using your inspiration. You don't want to be stingy with them. Otherwise you're missing out on fun. And then on level 6 you get extra attack. On level 7 you get 4th level spells. And on level 8, you get another ability score increase. On level 10, you get Song of Rest. And on level 10, you get Inspiration, Expertise, and Magical Secrets. Okay, so for the spells, on level 1, I would definitely choose Healing Word, Speak with Animals for roleplay reasons, and Thunder Wave. On level 3, for level 2 spells, I would pick Invisibility. That would help you sneak and pickpocket some people. Hold Person, Heat Metal, and Cloud of Daggers. On level 5, I just only noticed that Hypnotic Pattern is good. Maybe you could do a Glyph of Warding and lure enemies with a cat. Maybe, I'm not certain about that. Then at level 7, you go for Greater Invisibility. This is very good, it gives you advantage, or your allies advantage. Polymorph, if he's in the game, I haven't gotten to level 7 yet to check. Confusion or Dimension Door. Then on level 9, you want to get Greater Restoration, Dominate Person, Synaptic Static, and Seeming. Ooh, 2 of those. For Magical Secrets, I recommend between going Swift Quiver, Shield, or Counterspell. Now, if you want to get something else, of course, you're more than welcome to go for it. Alternatively, guys, you could go for Haste to buff yourself or allies to do more attacks, or you could go for Spirit Guardians if you're playing a melee build, Spiritual Weapon to do that extra bonus damage as part of your bonus action. For Warlock levels, you want to be getting a level 1, you're either going Fiend or Great Old Warlock. They're both good. Mortal Reminder will help a lot if you're playing a melee class, where Dark One's Blessing will help a lot with your survivability, and it's gonna give you Fireball down the line. So initially I leaned more towards the Great Old Warlock, but right now I'm leaning more towards the Fiend one, the Fiend Warlock. So at level 2 you want to be getting Devil's Sight and Agonizing Blast. Devil's Sight is really important at any point you decide to fight in a dark area. And at level 3 you get Pact of the Blade. I do not debate this. This is something that you need to be getting. Let me even make it bolder. This is probably the most important thing, the most important reason you would be going Warlock. Then on level 7, on level 4 you get an ability score increase. And then on level 5 you get extra attack. Now, about this extra attack right here, this extra attack, I've been told that it synergizes with other extra attacks. Whereas if you would get 5 levels of Paladin and 5 levels of Fighter, you wouldn't get 2 extra attacks. If you go 5 levels of Warlock and 5 levels of something else, you would get the second extra attack. So we're gonna rely on this down the line. Then, okay, then for Paladin, level 1, always when you see Paladin, you should know that it's time to respect your class and go level 1 Paladin, because it's gonna give you heavy armor proficiency, and same goes for Fighter, by the way. Then at level 2 Paladin, you get Divine Smite, which is probably also one of the most important features of this class. Like whenever you see 2 Paladin, this is why we're going to level Paladin, so that we can smite. And then if you go Ancients, you get Aura of Warding in the end. If you go Enmity, well, of Vengeance, Oath of Vengeance, you get Vow of Enmity right here, which gives you advantage against one creature. So it's very strong against bosses, so it's up to you. Then on level 4, you go Ability Score Increase. On level 5, you get Extra Attack. Then on level 6, you get the Aura of Protection, which is very, very, very strong. And on level 7, you can get the Aura of Warding if you're a Paladin of Ancients. Then for Fighters, the first level, you get the Fighting Style and Heavy Weapon Proficiency, Heavy Armor Proficiency. On level 2, you get your Action Surge. So, yeah, this is the deep levels. And now let's get to the actual builds and how you can play them. I've broken down the stats between 2 possible ways. So one is the single ability distribution, also known as SAD, where you're going to be maxing out your charisma. The other one is the MAD build, where you're actually dependent on a lot of abilities, which is also dexterity and charisma and constitution. And that would look a little bit different. Alternatively, if you want to go MAD with a strength build instead, you can just swap the dex for strength. So those are interchangeable, depending on what you want to play. Now for races, again, if you're going for a melee class, I would highly, highly, highly recommend the Half-Orc due to their savage attacks and relentless endurance. And for ranged builds, I would recommend the Deep Gnome, the most OP class in the game, because it has advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. And also they have superior dark vision, and also they have superior dark vision and advantage on stealth checks. So they pretty much have everything. Their only negative quirk is that they're a little bit slower. Personally, I don't like playing deep gnomes. You could use the mask of this guy's self and just pick a deep gnome and never have to look at yourself as a deep gnome again. There's a lot of variations that we can try with bards. There's a lot of classes that are based on... Yeah, let's get to it. My favorite one is this one, by the way. I know it's not the one you would expect me, and it's not the strongest ones, but I've played this in Tomb of Annihilation. It was a bard called Svetlana, and she died horribly while singing Rasputin, and didn't hear the trap clicking sound, and died. First of all, Mad Bard. It's mad because it relies on dexterity or strength and charisma. It's not a single ability distribution again. It's multiple ability distribution. This is what MAD stands for. So you want to be going 6 levels of Bard's swords, get the extra attack, and then you respec into Paladin so that you can get smites, and then you continue with Bard. This is pretty simple. And here you're going to be looking for spells that actually complement this fighting style. You're going to be essentially a very high level spellcaster. You have your extra attack, and then you're going to have access to high magic, like greater invisibility, so you're always going to be hitting with advantage, and your enemy is always going to be with disadvantage if they can hit you back. And yeah, this is pretty much the build. And it's going to have very high smites whenever you land an attack, so you're going to be able to use those high spell slots to do a lot of damage. However, if you go for a fight art, this build is going to be very, very, very fun, because you can go ability score increase, sharpshooter, focus heavily on dexterity instead of charisma, so you're going to have 20 dexterity and 16 charisma by the end of the game. And you're going to be using a longbow, and you're going to be staying back, shooting your enemies with sharpshooter, applying blade flourish to yourself, so your armor class is going to be very high. And you're going to have action surge, So essentially, this build gets 4 attacks every turn, because at level 12, where you get the magical secrets from Bard, you're gonna go for Swift Quiver. When you pick Swift Quiver, this allows you to do 2 extra attacks as part of your bonus action. So the gameplay of this build is you use your first turn to cast Swift Quiver, and you do 4 attacks with your action surge. So it's attack, 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 bonus action, Swift Quiver. 4 attacks. Then on subsequent turns, you do action, attack, 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 extra attack, bonus action, Swift Quiver, 2 attacks. So you have 4 attacks consistently. This is a very consistent build. Yeah. So this is the build. It's very fun. It does a lot of damage. And you also have the option of being a spellcaster and boosting your party, and getting all the Bard benefits. It's arguably a little bit weaker than a fighter, but the fighter only gets 3 attacks per turn, the full fighter. So, the Bardlockdin. So, this build essentially relies on doing smite damage. You're gonna get 3 levels of Warlock. You get Pact of the Blade, which allows you to use your charisma for your weapon, right? So, you no longer need to have high dexterity or strength. You just allocate your points the way you want to. Pact of the Blade is amazing. I cannot begin to talk about it. There's going to be so many builds around it. Then on level 4 and 5, you get ability score increase and extra attack. And then you get your smiting ability as a Paladin. And then you go Bard. You get 5 levels of it. So by the end of it, you're actually going to be able to use your inspiration as a D8. And it's going to reset on a short rest. So you go Swords Bard. You get the maneuvers, and they reset on a short rest. So you're essentially some sort of weird battle master that can also do spells that can be used for smiting. This is very strong. And it's a single ability distribution. So it's probably one of my favorites, and this is the one I would recommend to anyone who wants to just play Bard, but not lose out on much of the damage and the utility of the Warlock. So then there's the Hexadin Bard, where you prioritize Paladin. You get 3 levels of Warlock to get the Pact of the Blade, so you can become a sad Hexadin Bard. And then you get 3 levels of Swords Bard to get the maneuvers and the defensive flourish that will boost your armor class. Actually, I made a video about this, and you could go up to 42 armor class with this build if you get the right items. Maybe even 45 if you consider the second ring of protection plus 3, but that's almost impossible. Okay, yeah, we don't know what items are going to be in the game yet. I'm only level 5 right now. And then, this is something that you guys pointed out to me. Let me give you a shout out actually. Yeah. So, this is something you guys mentioned, and thank you for mentioning it. So, Theo just tested it, and currently, the level 5 Blade Warlock extra attack stacks with other extra attacks. So 5 Paladin, 5 Warlock will do 3 extra attacks. This is crazy. This is broken. This is broken beyond build. Like, the fighter gets that only if they go pure fighter and give up on everything else. You can do that with 10 levels. Else, and then you could get a level in Paladin, another level in Paladin, and a level in Bard. I would even consider action surge at this point. If it works like that, I would consider 2 levels of fighter, and you don't need to play Bard when you just kill all your enemies in one turn, So, this is probably a build I'm going to be going through. Finally, we have the Bardlock, who is essentially the 3 attack variant. It's going to be a Warlock. Again, Great Old or Fiend, it's up to you. I would probably go Fiend if I was going for a Bard, because I'm going to be using my Fireball a lot, my ranged abilities a lot. This is going to be a South build, so you're also going to be able to be proficient with use your Charisma whenever you're making attacks with whichever weapon you want. The problem with this build is that you won't be getting access to... I like the Fighter because of the Constitution saving throw, and you're going to be concentrating on spells. And then you get 6 levels of Bard Swords, of a Sword Bard, to get the extra attack and reset on the short rest, and the ability score increase, and the increase of the increase on your inspiration. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Please let me know what you think below. If you want to go into the math of each class, I'm probably thinking I'm going to go into the math of this one. Let me know what you think and what type of content you would want to see, and if there's any cool builds that you like in the comments. And thank you for being here, and I'm overwhelmed. The past few days the channel blew up. Consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. Thank you so much.